author of My Daddy's the Devil in Me. This is a true story, very true story that I wrote. And I know today this is a writer's conference, but I usually speak at churches, and so I'm glad that I can say the word hallelujah today.
Amen.
Right.
That's my testimony. This is a testimony that God has given me to write.
Yes.
I was listening to Pastor Simmons, I think, and she was saying that she didn't put everything in her book about molestation and prostitution and everything. Well, I did. I put it in my book. My book is written where there is no profanity, and it is Christian-like because it is my testimony. But I put everything into my book. And I always felt that I would be the most likely not to succeed. And that's how I grew up, by being all these things being birthed in me by my biological father. My biological father told me that I will never be anything, that I was ugly, no one would never love me, and I would never amount to anything in life. And this is what I believed and embedded in my life over the years. And I made a lot of mistakes. I want to talk about the mistakes that can be made in writing. I made a lot of mistakes, and I share those mistakes so that people that are coming through, like the young lady, will not make the same mistakes that I made in writing my book. My husband and I spent thousands of dollars on that book. And I printed through Eglibris, and they're telling me that my book is selling like cupcakes, but I don't see much of the profit.
Right.
Okay, so I made some major mistakes in writing my book, and that's why I come to these conferences so I can learn. But I've learned from my mistakes. I made major mistakes and spent a lot of money and trying to make that money back. But I thank God today that my book is doing well. I thank God today that my book has become popular through Facebook, social media. I've been on several Blog Talk radio shows. I've been on the 700 Club. I had a couple of phone calls from the Oprah show. I had I thank God for my husband, y'all. He's wonderful. Chapter after chapter, some chapters were harder than others, but he was there by my side. And I want to say that it was hard for me because what you're looking at, let me tell you what you're looking at first. You're looking at a molested child, a pregnant teen, a 17-year-old prostitute. I was strung out on drugs at 18 years old, 19 in rape, a 20-year-old prison inmate. That's what you're looking at. But God turned all that around. You see healing and ultimately forgiveness. Because I forgave my deadbeat father for what he did to me. Because I refused to let him continue to have the rest of me by hating him. So I love him today. I have the love of Christ for him today. He's alive. And I don't hate him. I just don't have that relationship with him. And he will never be able to see my granddaughters. But I forgive him in my heart of hearts. I forgive him. And I'm free. You know, and that's why I wrote my book. That's why I can step boldly to the throne of grace. I can step boldly and tell you what you see today. Because there's so many people in this world that's looking for hope. So many people looking for a way out. I'm not against New Hope, but I don't think that the hope is in New Hope. I think I'm not against the psychiatrist, but I know where I found my hope. I found my hope in Jesus. I surrendered it all to him. He took the very taste of alcohol, drugs, and cigarettes out of my mouth instantly. Things I used to do, I have those desires anymore. I don't go to those places anymore. I'm not bored. I'm just living the life that Christ has given me today. So today, what you see, I do have my own Blog Talk radio show. It's a successful radio show. I've interviewed several celebrities on my show. I'm coming up with my internet television show, and I am an entrepreneur today. sick and tired of throwing my applications in the trash because I'm a 3-time felon. I stand before you 3-time felon at the hands of my father who taught me how to rob banks with checks. So I couldn't get no job, and I didn't want to work for $9 an hour. I worked in a place for 4 years. My husband and I did a living. God blessed us where we could live together in this woman's place and work. And she tried to work me like a dog. So she came home. He came home one day, and I told him, I'm leaving. We were working from paycheck to paycheck. And he said, what you mean? And the racetrack right up the street too? You know, he could walk to the racetrack. He didn't want to go nowhere. He wanted to stay right there. We rent free, and all the bills free. And you talking about leaving? I said, God told me to step out of here on faith, and that's what I'm going to do. And I took the paycheck that we had, and when that lady came home, my bed was sitting on her driveway in a truck. And we went and we got an apartment, and we started in that apartment with one bed. We had our clothes and garbage bags, and today we're in our townhouse. We work from my business works from home. I have my office at my home where I run a business in our home. The name is our business. We send companions and caregivers out to help those that are seniors and others with disabilities. And in doing that, I could stay home and write my book. Think about how I went around the United States prostituting, on drugs, homeless, and now I'm going around the United States. Come on now.
Go ahead. All
right.
Stories.
You know, and God is making a way. He's opening up the doors. He's touching hearts along the way in my behalf. And there's so many young women that have come forth. Since I've been telling my story, I've had women come forth right in the church and said, He's doing it to me. It's happening to me right now. I had a lady come to me and whisper in my ear, my daddy gave me AIDS. I've had people come to me and tell me, they didn't tell no one else. But I thank God that they openly came to me. And that's the start of freeing yourself. When you can get up boldly and say, I am what I am. This is what I am today. But look where God has brought me from. God can do it. God can do it. Nobody else. My grandparents couldn't help me. My aunties and uncles who loved me to death could not help them. The wounds were too deep. Could